In Kathopanishad, almost the concluding shlokas reveal the truth of self-realization, much different from the otherwise understood and misunderstood concepts of self-realization. When this shloka simply says, Yada sarve pramuchyante kama ye asya hridishritaha athamartyo amruto bhavati atra brahma samushnate. When all the desires of the heart are done, then and there, the mortal human becomes the immortal divine, and then and there, he attains the ultimate realization of Brahman, of the self. However simple it may sound, the most difficult feat to achieve on this earth is to be absolutely desireless. Sarve, not some kaman, sarve kaman. All desires should be done. Only then one is able to attain that state where one is completely identified with the divine. There is no separate existence. That's the way of our scriptures. A while ago, I was talking to somebody and he was asking about samadhi. Because, spirituality, when you want to get into this path, you want to read up a few books, go to a few workshops, and then you do some effort of meditation, and then you want to attain that state of samadhi. He's asking about samadhi. I'm not so much about samadhi. I'm about jivan mukti. Is it not the same? No, it's not the same. There is this nirvikalpa samadhi, and there is this avikalpa samadhi. But beyond this nirvikalpa, savikalpa is the idea of jivan mukti. Nirvikalpa samadhi we all know, especially children. You do some mischief and the warden comes your way. At that very moment you attain nirvikalpa samadhi. You don't know what you're doing, who are you, what's going to happen next. Absolute blank. But what use is such spirituality, such samadhi in today's times is my question. I would rather have jivan muktas who are perfectly able-bodied, sharp in their mind, pure in their hearts, and absolutely selfless and desireless in their lives. Always available to do good to others. Always living a life for the sake of others, without any desires, without anything for themselves. That is the kind of spirituality the world needs today. That is the selfless kind of spirituality. Spirituality can also be selfish, where you just want to look after your own comfort and convenience. You want to stay away from all the entanglements of the world, or rather you say responsibilities of the world, and hide in a corner and feel good about it. That you are absolutely in peace, you have no disturbance, your mind is calm, and you feel you have attained that. Not true. The very next moment somebody comes your way who is not so favorable, all that is disturbed. And it topples like a apple cart. And you do not know what to do with yourself. Such spirituality is of no use to the world today. Today's spirituality must be defined as pure selflessness, where there are no desires, not even the desire to attain realization within oneself. Simply be as you are and do what the divine does, which is to simply selflessly serve. You do that, in that the joy that you experience, that quality of joy, that is greater than all these joys of samadhi. And that is the spirituality that I promote and propagate. It's not difficult. When can you become desireless? When you totally depend on the divine, you can become desireless. When you have complete faith and surrender to the divine will, you can become desireless. When you don't have that, that's when desires haunt you. I want to do this, I want to go there, I want to attain this, I want to achieve that, I want to protect myself, I want to provide for my people. And one thought after the other keeps coming in. a sequence because you have some desire left somewhere. But when you have complete surrender and faith to the divine, that the divine knows what it needs to do with me, when, where, how, and what I need, what I do not need, when I need, how much I need, that divine knows. You can lead an absolutely selfless and desireless life. And in that desirelessness, you attain the highest of all spiritual achievements, which is Jivan Mukti. While you are aware, very much in the body, you are free. There is a Videha Mukti. You die and then you become free. I don't know whether you will become free, but the world will become free of you. Some kind of Mukti for somebody at least by your departure. But I talk about a Mukti which is here and now, not sometime later. A Mukti which comes out of freedom from all kinds of desires. So some student asked me, oh, then desire to become divine, desire to realize divinity, is that not a desire? Oh, that is also a desire. But it is like a good desire. You see, in old times, this Brahmana, Bhojana Priya, Brahmins will eat a lot. Then how to digest all this? So they'll eat a piece of ginger. And then that ginger will digest the food that you have eaten and also will get digested by itself. Likewise, this desire to know God is a desire that will dissolve all other desires. And that also will get dissolved and disappear. All worldly desires will disappear if you have at least desire for God. And eventually that desire also will disappear because you will be God. So what more should you desire for? Can I desire for myself? I desire for my hand. Can that be a desire? You already have your hand with you. It's yours. And I want to be God. Can you desire that? No, you already are that. Once you know that, where is desire left for it? But till you know that, yes, at least an effort to know God. Then what is the way to know God? Become selfless, become pure, become kind, compassionate. All these virtues you must develop. That is how you know God. But once you know God, there is no more desire to know God because you are that all the time. Dehabhimanam galite vijñate paramatmani yatra yatra manoyati tatra tatra samadhayaha. Once you have lost this idea that you are just the body and the mind and you think you are one with the divine, you know the divine, wherever you go, you are always in a state of samadhi. So I am looking for spiritualists who can be in the operation theater performing the most complicated operation and yet absolutely steady, calm and detached. Absolutely selfless and desireless, only for the welfare of the patient. That kind of enlightened doctors is what we want for the world. Who are enlightened beings, not just employed, not just educated, but they're enlightened beings. Only they can show the path to others. I desire that such a thing should happen. Now, is that a desire too? Yes, it is a desire. I tell always, see, I have no desire. You can't bind me with anything to any place, to anyone. But because of this one desire of Loka Kalyanam, I am bound. This is like a golden chain, but nevertheless it is a chain that binds you. But that is the role that you have to perform. That is the role that has been given to perform. So I am performing my part, you perform yours. Be a doctor, but a desireless, selfless doctor in our hospital. Be a teacher, but a desireless, selfless teacher in our schools. Be a servant to the society, absolutely desireless, selfless servant to the society. That is the kind of beings we must create. That is the only solution to all the problems of the world. Do whatever you have got to do, but do it absolutely without any selfishness, without any desire for yourself. So always keep asking the simple steps, swartha, parartha, paramartha. I to we to he. Is it for my sake or is it for our sake? If it is for our sake, it is still better. Let us do it. Is it for God's sake and God alone who matters to me? All the better. Let us do it only for that sake. In that, everything else will be looked after. So this is the spirituality that our children, our people must learn. Don't run behind these fleeting experiences of samadhi, this samadhi, vikalpa, nirvikalpa. All this is fleeting. It is still not the permanent thing. And it's not at all relevant for today's world. It might have been relevant in some Krita Yuga or Treta Yuga or sometime like that. But in today's world, spirituality means selfless love. God means goodness. Nothing more than that. If you follow these simple principles, there is no way you cannot attain that highest realization of the self. It's not possible. It will come your way. You cannot avoid it. It will come because you are leading a life like that. The other day I was telling, that is within. Ishavasya Upanishad says, Hiranya mayena patrena sasya syapihitam mukham. Satya syapihitam mukham. The truth is hidden within us with the cover. And what do you say? Tattvam pushana pavruna satya dharmaya drishtaye. O Lord, reveal it to us, the truth which is already within us. Why? Because I am a follower. I am the follower of Satya and Dharma, truth and goodness. Therefore, please reveal the truth to me. And it will be revealed to you eventually. Nobody can deny that. Nobody can make you not have it. You will have it, as you are very right. Before that, say Satya Dharmaya Drishtaya. I must follow the path of Satya Dharma so that the truth reveals itself to me because I deserve to be knowing that truth. Simplest path is selfless service. So when I stay in my room and I look down and I see all the construction of the hospital, medical college and all these buildings, I look at all of them as paths to divinity, as the way to God. Simply to walk on this path, selflessly and desirelessly. You go to hospitals, you serve selflessly. In that selflessness, you will realize divinity, sooner or later. You go to the schools, teach the children who need the help. Do that. In that, you will realize God. It will come your way. Nobody can deny you your divinity. It is the simplest path of spirituality. You can read all the scriptures, Upanishads, Vedas, and all that. That helps you to keep yourself focused. But that's the theory part of it. It doesn't mean anything at the end if you know how you have read the book about how to cook or how to play a game or how to play a musical instrument. If you have read the whole book about it, you won't become the musician or the chef or a sports person or a skilled person. You just know it by theory, like driving or anything. Likewise, all books are spiritual books are all theory only. At the end, it has to translate into practicality. And that practicality is simply selfless service. All cannot go and operate in the theater. There are qualifications for that. But being selflessness does not require any effort or qualification. You have to drop all the desires. Now, how will I drop all the desires? What about my yoga, kshema and all that? Believe in that higher self. Believe in that God who is there to protect those who are ready to walk on this path. Their food will be guaranteed. Their shelter will be guaranteed. Their welfare will be guaranteed. That fearlessness you should have because you have faith in God. When Swami Vivekananda was traveling by train and he had nothing in his hand, he had taken to the path of monkhood, sannyasa. So he was traveling all around the country at that point in time. Twice he went around the country. At that point in time, he did not know what to eat. He was hungry, he was thirsty, and he was sitting in the train compartment, and there was a rich merchant sitting on the opposite side and started making a mockery of his ochre robes, saying all these young boys getting distracted and fooled by all these ideas of spirituality. They'll take to a lazy life of monkhood, do nothing, simply roam around and eat on others' mercy and be parasites and all kinds of things. Swami Vivekananda was sitting there. He did not know how to react. He was a new monk. If he was a little more seasoned monk, he would have given it back. But he was simply sitting and listening. He was really hungry and thirsty. So the man bought some food and water and was eating. He didn't even offer to Swami Vivekananda. But what can he do? He just simply sat watching. And then he said, my God is there. God will look after me. I have dedicated myself to the path of God. God will look after me. And the merchant, said, God looks after us only if we work and we earn. It's not by sitting idly that God will look after. But Swami Vivekananda said, I have taken to this path of spreading the idea of Sanathana Dharma, of divinity, and redeeming the masses from the clutches of ignorance. That is my path. That is my service. Anyway, the argument went on, but there was no conclusion. However, this merchant was keen to know how God is going to feed this young monk when he has no money to buy food. So a station comes and Swami Vivekananda got out of the train, even the merchant got out. And as Swamiji went and sat somewhere, a man came running with a mat and a pot of food on his head. And he mat in his sides and a pot of food. And came searching. He's saying, "Are you the Swamiji who has come just now in this train?" He said, "Yes." He said, "Oh, I was looking for you." And he immediately spread the mat and placed the food in front of Swamiji and said, "Please have it. It's for you." He said, "How do you know that I am coming and I will be here at this point in time?" He said, "I am a simple sweetmeat shop owner. And it so happened that I take an afternoon nap. And when I was taking the nap, Lord Balaji appeared in my dream and told, there is one young monk who is very hungry. His train is arriving now and he'll be at the station. You must go and feed him something." And that's why he came running before you leave. And the merchant who had mocked at Swamiji was watching all this. And naturally, he was humbled by this entire experience. Because Swamiji gave himself to God. Now you are God's responsibility. Once you give yourself to God, it becomes God's responsibility to look after you. But what we do, we want to give ourselves to God, but also we want to make sure there is some bank balance and a few friends and a little bit of property and wealth behind, so that, just in case God is too busy for me, at least I can look after myself. Such people, neither they find God nor they find the world. It is said, "Duvidha mein dono gaye, maya mili na Ram." You wanted this, you wanted that, you got nothing of it. Neither this nor that. That kind of life is of no use. That spirituality is of no use. On Monday, you wake up and you go to a workshop and sit for 3 days or 4 days or a week. Eat only organic food, wear only linen, and cut off all the mobile connections. And after 1 week, you're back with greater vigor. You have not checked your WhatsApp, Facebook, Insta. So there are hundreds of messages piled up. You have to reply to all of them. After a week, you back. Whatever you have not eaten for 1 week, more than that, you double. You eat it all. This is not the way of spirituality. Most of the people are selling spirituality like this around in the name of making you pure. That doesn't work. It may work for that week, but next week you will come back with a vengeance. All your desires which are waiting to come back, they'll come back. So a continuity in your efforts is a must. These one-off kind of efforts are not going to lead us anywhere. Every day, make it a little, but make it consistent effort. And be desireless in what you're doing. So should I not get marks in the class? Good marks? Yes, you get. You get good marks according to your efforts. And for what sake should you get good marks? Not to get a big name, fame, and a lot of identification, a lot of praise. Simply because as a student, that's your duty to study well so that you develop knowledge and skills with which you can help somebody in the future. That's the only motivation why you should study well. Getting marks is not the reason why you should study well. Study well so that you learn some skills, some wisdom, some knowledge which can be used to help somebody in need. That's all is the reason to study or do anything. But unfortunately, over a period, I was discussing with some people, and I realized that over a period of time, everything is measured in monetary terms. Your education, is it going to help you earn a lot of money? Then that education is good. Your work, whatever be your skills, is it going to ultimately help you make money? If yes, then it is respected, otherwise it is not. Because of which, what has happened? All the time, people are under pressure to pick up and do things of that kind which will help them make more money. The more money you make, more respect you get. So the idea of skills, knowledge, abilities is gone. Everybody is running behind the same idea of making more money. And when this money was not there in the picture, when there was barter system long time ago, everybody respected each other's skills. And everybody had respect for even the smallest person also in the society who had some skills through which she used to serve. People respected them for that skill. Because there was no money, there was no gold, there was no way to store all this wealth. It was only based on the needs. That is the time when world was much better. When a carpenter was also equally respected as was a merchant, so also was a farmer, so also was a potter, or a musician, or a poet. Everybody had respect in the society because they were respected for their skills and knowledge with which they were serving others. And in return, they were also getting benefited. There was no storing and hiding and like a thief and worrying about your wealth. That kind of world may not come back. It's very difficult to go back to that system. But definitely what we can develop is a sense of selflessness. What is selflessness? Not worrying or not simply thinking only about yourself. But you must eat, yes, you must eat so that you are healthy, so that you are not a burden on somebody in the first place. Second, with the healthy body, you can serve 10 others. Why should you study? So that you are not an ignorant fellow who has to be helped by others, but your knowledge will be useful to help somebody else, your skills. So that you should study for that sake. Do anything for the sake of helping somebody else who is in need. And ultimately doing it as an offering to God. That is the simplest way of leading lives. I don't see spirituality should be more complicated than this, at least for these times in which we live. It should be as simple as that. And develop that complete, total surrender to that divine will, to that divine master, to that supreme being who is watching over all of us. On one side we say we are all your devotee, we are surrendered. On the other side we all have our own backup plans and things like that. That's why I appreciated when I went to Prashanti Balmandir Girls' School. They said, I told in the girls in the previous day that, see, I love devotees who have no backup plans. And they all wrote that, Swami, you and your daughters have no backup plans. Your plan is our plan. We don't have a separate plan running. Just in case Swami doesn't do this, we will be able to do this for ourselves. They have no backup plan. Tell me how many of them can live like this? Some gopikas of your Weaver, Gopikanam, those were like those, that they depended totally on the Lord Krishna. They didn't have any plan of their own. And God loves such devotees. So develop that kind of a devotion and surrender. That is the idea of spirituality. When you develop that surrender and faith, you will become desireless, selfless, fearless. And that is the hallmark of true devotee, true spiritual person. That is what I expect our boys and girls to develop. Don't get corrupted by these ideas of those who think they are wise, worldly wise, and they suggest, no, do this, make your own stuff, make your plans, make your arrangements, and then you go and do what service you want. No. Many people tell me, Swami, give me this lot of wealth and I will do service. I always tell them, you serve, you will never run out of wealth. As long as you are using it for the service of others, you will always be rich. It's only others who hide, as I said, like thieves. They are the ones who suffer. Neither they get God nor they get the world. They neither enjoy God nor they enjoy the world. So that is the kind of faith, that of Mirabai or Akka Mahadevi or the Gopikas. That is the faith, that is the surrender that I truly, truly love about our devotees. And I feel you can do better. Most of you can do better. Children are perfectly good because they are still very innocent. They don't understand all this. They are totally dependent on the divine will. So children are very good, especially young children. So once they grow up, slowly the idea starts coming in, what if? Slowly they start worrying. But most of our children are very good, very innocent and pure, totally dependent on the divine will. And I can assure them, they will never be disappointed. They will never be disappointed in their faith in the divine. Because they're totally, Yoga Kshemam Vahamyam, Krishna says, I will take care. But there is a precondition to that. What is the precondition? Ananyas Chintayanto Ma Yejana Paryupasate, not upasate. Not worshipping for the sake of getting something in return. Paryupasate, higher kind of worship, for the sake of worship. Only then they will be looked after completely. Who have no desires, who have nothing to ask from God. Such people will be looked after by God. So be like that. Even one person like that can change the fate of the society. We don't need hundreds of them. Even one completely surrendered person can change the course of human history. That is the power of selfless love, selfless devotion. I hope hundreds of you will develop that kind of devotion, faith, and surrender, that kind of desireless spirituality, selfless spirituality, because of which the world will come out of the perils of selfishness and self-interest that it is facing today. All the divisions, all the conflicts, all inequalities only because of selfishness. That will disappear once we have people like these. And seeing you, more will get inspired. And seeing them, many more will get inspired. So it will go on. Last thing I will tell, another group had come, they were asking me, Swami, you think you're doing all these things, you think world will change? World is so big. Almost 8 billion people on earth, and soon we'll become in 9, 10 the way we are growing. What will happen? Do you think you can change this, how much ever work you do? And I told him, see, it is not a linear progression. It is not a linear graph. This is a geometric progression. One will inspire 10, 10 will inspire 100, 100 will inspire 1,000. It will go on and on. So this can be very rapid, like a forest fire. It's not like lighting one lamp after the other. It's like a fire. It's an explosion. So it's possible. But as I said, the root or the seed for it is one such selfless person in every community, in every society. And he or she will spread this idea to many more. And that's how the world will change sooner than you can imagine. So we need more of such individuals. That's all I am trying to draw your attention to. And once we are like that, because of one such person also, a lot of good can happen. Sa tarati, sa lokan starayati. He will definitely cross over and he will take everybody along. That is the power of selflessness. So I don't expect much from everybody. I only expect that you should have no desires. That's not much of expectations, right? You should be absolutely desireless, and in that desirelessness, you will find your divinity. And once you find that, you become that, you will be the inspiration for so many more people. We need young boys and girls like you to inspire the world, because more than half the world is young. Where these young people need some inspiration, some direction, or from their own kinds, not from another generation. They are not going to listen to preachers who come from another time and era. They need people of their kind, of their age, who understand them. They need inspiration. Such inspiring children I want to create. The first batch of the Vedic studies, boys and girls who have got ready, I'm going to send them around the world to conduct some of such programs in various of ashrams of ours. And you must spruce up all your knowledge, and you have to help more youngsters around the world by discussing, talking, and inspiring them with this idea of Sanatana Dharma and this idea that you can claim your divinity provided you become desireless and selfless. And that you have to exhibit through your own conduct, your own life. At least 1 year you people should go around in India and abroad, talking, teaching, learning, explaining, discussing, and more than anything else, inspiring by your own personal example, all the people in the world. I'm very hopeful and very, very optimistic that our children will be able to do this, because they're so well trained, they're so pure, they're so devoted, and they're so surrendered. They have no fear. The parents may be afraid, but they have no fear. These are the children who will inspire the rest of the world. With this idea and blessings, I conclude.